Bear is preparing to give customers a haircut, but the water of the electric fader is very deep. He simply cannot grasp. This is not to give himself a big tie, and trembling to run to the customer's head. This old man is really big-hearted. Fortunately, the wire to the head, thank goodness, it was wrapped around the fan again. It was hard to get down, but he had to face the reality. The customer's head was shaved. He rushed up to the fan to see if it could be saved. This is the end. He immediately took out the jam and rubbed it on the guest's head, trying to get out of the way, but the customer touched his head. It was revealed on the spot. Just when the boss came back, he saw this scene. The fan triggered the fire sprinkler again. Just 5 minutes on the job. He lost his job. This made him decide to start from the grassroots, using his physical strengths, wiping windows around town for pay. No matter how much he was paid, it all treated equally, even give a bath to the stray rhubarb. Because of him, the town become a peaceful and full of warmth, and the reason he works hard to earn money. It wanted to give a birthday present to its relatives from abroad, a 3-dimensional book with pictures of London buildings, and in this book, in fact, there is a secret hidden. One day, a thief broke into the antique store. The little bear saw him. He got the 3-dimensional book and fled out. The kind-hearted little bear also chased after him. Who knows that the other party even got on a bicycle. It was no problem for the bear. He rode after him on his rhubarb. He soon caught up with the thief, but the thief was able to get away from him. The stupid thief was so happy that he hit a fire hydrant. Finally, there was no way out. Caught by the bear on the spot, but he turned around and dropped a smoke bomb and disappeared completely, leaving Bear in place to take the blame. No one in town believed Bear was a burglar, but there was no evidence. They could only watch him being taken away. The thief took off his disguise. He was actually a neighbor of the town. Apparently he knew the secret of the book. Soon the day of the trial arrived. The bad news is, the judge was actually a customer of the haircut that day, and there was a thief neighbor to testify against him. Even though everyone didn't believe him, Bear was still wrongly imprisoned. This is a little bear. He got into trouble on his first day in jail. He is responsible for washing the prisoner's clothes. What's so hard about that? But then he pushes the button. The prison's dirty laundry buried him alive on the spot with a mouth full of lucky-colored smelly socks. The bear worked for half a day. At last, it was cleaned up, took off his clothes, stuffed into the washing machine. He didn't remember the stinky socks. By the time he realized, the red socks were spinning and jumping in the washing machine. He rushed to open the door, but the handle was broken instantly. This is really the end. As expected, the inmates all changed into a new collie look. The pink tough guys was angry, speechless. The bear had to pretend not to see. Sit down and eat. Just scooped up a spoonful and put it in his mouth. He almost threw up. The inmates were used to it. They were too angry to say anything about it, because the one who cooks the food is the prison's Iron Fist, the most capable fighter in the prison. The inmates tease him. If you can solve the problem of food, the matter of death Barbie powder will be forgotten. The bear is based on the principle of making the big things small. The principle of making small things small. So he went to the restaurant brazenly, under the watchful eye of his fellow inmates. He and Iron Fist put up with each other. Anyone can cook better than you. Call a doctor. Iron Fist heard the rolling pin in his hand. The bear is not finished, and picked up the bread next to him, and hit him on the head. Look at the hardness of this bread. Can't you add some spices? He took the ketchup from the table, nourished Iron Fist's stomach, then he climbed on the table. He used the bear's paw to spread it evenly. The color was a bit unpleasant. He picked up the mustard sauce again and put it on. This guy is getting worse and worse. He turned around and asked for help from his cellmates behind him, but they all cowered in the belly of the table. No more doctors. Let's just bury it. Iron Fist picked up the bear. He was about to make a bear meat pie for it. Unexpectedly, when it struggled, he put the jammy bread in his hat, into Tekken's mouth. It was as if he had hit the pause button. After savoring it, he said to his cellmate, "Listen up, I've got this bear." And that's how the bear became his laborer. He was made to make 500 servings of marmalade bread. Watching him take the oranges one by one, he had to go up and help. The Iron Fist was used just right. After all the hard work they did, finally finished all the orange jam. This effort was not in vain. The inmates ate with great enjoyment. When Iron Fist came out, they all applauded from the bottom of their hearts. Looking at the scene in front of him, Iron Fist was shy. The inmates also united together, contributed more recipes. The prison kitchen was transformed into a dessert factory. The cold dining room became like a social gathering, and it was all because of Bear's arrival. But the once lively town became extraordinarily cold. Everyone's heart was not in the right place, and the family was also trying to find the hand. After much investigation and research, they finally locked in the target. Prisoners prepare to escape from prison. They opened the pre-digged floor. Without saying a word, they jumped in, then they crawled forward and turned, opened the vent, down the slide all the way down, landed in a pile of old clothes, pushed on the laundry cart again, take the belongings to go out, all the way up to the clock tower. The bear took the opportunity to grab the pendulum hand, and started climbing upwards, relying on his small size, followed the gear gap, arrived at the top of the building, grabbed the key and opened the door of the restaurant, and from the restaurant to get the supplies needed to escape from the prison, then went to the kitchen again, fired up the gas tank, climbed up the stairs to the lighthouse, unseen and unseen, go to the top of the tower and hold up the sewn tablecloth. Then I lit the gas. The flames of hope grew bigger and bigger. A hot air balloon just floated up. Prisoners look at the successful escape of the bear, really happy for him. Good luck to the bear. They changed their clothes. They landed in a bad building, and there was a plane here. They're trying to get out of the city, but the bear wanted to clear his name and go home, and so they go their separate ways. And Bear was afraid of getting his family involved. He didn't dare to go back. He had to call them to say goodbye. Now we know the real killer, and he was already on his way to find the treasure, so he posed as a garbage can. He was ambushed at the station, followed the bad guy and sneaked onto the train. The train sped along. The bad guy also arrived at the car with the treasure. He took out the three-dimensional book. According to the code on it, he began to enter the notes on the pipe organ. The bear stepped on the iced apples. Walking on the top of the train was difficult, but then he ran into a tunnel. He rushed to the limit of the lower back. That's how he survived. The crisis was solved, and the bad guy has solved the code. He was about to get the treasure. Little Bear took the opportunity to go in, get the three-dimensional book and run away. However, he was discovered while retreating. The bad guy was also stunned. Triggered the mechanism. The treasure ray closed again. The bear fled immediately. The bad guy couldn't remember the password. Had to go after the bear again. They came to the roof of the car, and the bear had no way to escape. At that moment, the bad guy's feet were empty, and he fell into the car. It turned out that his family came to support him. The bad guy grabbed a knife in his hand, and approached the crowd, and the grandmother directly grabbed a gun. However, this gun was loaded with plastic bullets, and so they were all restrained. The bear also could not escape his clutches. The bad guy grabbed the three-dimensional book, and locked it in the carriage. Then he pulled out the pins connecting the cars, and changed the train's track. But as soon as the bad guy turned around, a baseball came right at him. He was knocked out on the spot. It turned out that Dad and the others had escaped, and the bear carriage had derailed straight down the cliff, and fell into the lake. He could only struggle in the carriage. Mom rushed into the water to save him, but how cannot open the chain. Just then, the inmates appeared. They worked together to rescue him. They couldn't stop worrying this good little bear. 3 days later, the bear woke up. All the neighbors in town came to see him, and they had a surprise for him. He picked up his aunt. After watching the movie, I couldn't help but write a poem. The good bear is real. Came to prison to teach cooking. I'm the most handsome in prison. Let the world be full of love. Thanks for watching.